Ever since the 1960s, I've loved honeycomb candy. The milk chocolate covered ones that are a bit soft in the middle are my favorite. I'm not a fan of the ones that are hard as rocks. I know I've come close to chipping a tooth on some of those suckers. I've never tried any without a chocolate covering of some kind, though. I've also never tried anything other than honeycomb, as it always had honey in it. So, no cider toffee, sponge candy, etc. The history of honeycomb candy isn't clear, but it's known worldwide as one name or another. Some names besides honeycomb are sponge candy, molasses puffs, cider toffee, angel food candy, honeycomb toffee, hokey pokey, golden crunchers, sponge toffee, puff candy, and seafoam. It is said that the British started producing sponge candy as early as 1913 in Beamish, a village located in northwestern England's Durham County. Cooks and bakers used copper pans and an open fire when making the earliest forms of British sponge candy. Cadbury commercialized the production of sponge candy in 1929 by launching the Crunchy Candy Bar. The main difference between sponge candy and honeycomb is, of course, the honey. Sponge candy uses corn syrup or molasses, but not honey. Honeycomb candy uses clover honey, not corn syrup or molasses. Sponge candy is a sugary toffee with a light, rigid, sponge-like texture. Its main ingredients are typically brown sugar, corn syrup or molasses, and baking soda. Thermal decomposition of the baking soda releases carbon dioxide. The sponge-like structure is formed when the sugar is liquid, then the toffee sets hard. Sponge toffee and cinder toffee are the terms used to describe the British and Canadian equivalents of American honeycomb candy. Traditional honeycomb candy is made with clover honey as opposed to corn syrup. By cooking down the honey, the sugar compounds become hard and easy to crack into pieces. The commonly accepted name of the popular candy comes from the final texture of the finished candy, as well as the honey with which it is made. Honeycomb candy's texture is the main difference between it and sponge candy. Whereas sponge candy has a fine, sponge-like texture full of tiny air bubbles, the air pockets of honeycomb candy are larger and have a more defined shape to them due to the use of honey rather than corn syrup. When broken apart, honeycomb candy consists of large bubbles that form a design similar to honeycombs found in beehives. Honeycomb candy is a versatile treat. It can be used to top foods. It can be a sweet, honey-flavored addition to desserts of various types. It can decorate the foam of a latte and then dissolve as a delicate sweetener. Owing to its simple recipe and quick time to prepare, it's often made at home and is a popular recipe for children. In addition to a similar history, the ingredients of honeycomb and sponge candy are nearly identical. What makes all the difference is not only the vinegar that reacts with the baking soda and sugar to create the iconic sponge-like texture, but also the honey that is both soft and sweet when allowed to melt in one's mouth. Sponge candy is usually poured in forms and then dipped in chocolate during its original production, making the toffee more like a piece of candy one would imagine purchasing at a chocolate shop than the brittle form of honeycomb usually made in kitchens at home. Honeycomb candy is usually completely dipped in either milk chocolate or dark chocolate and sold mainly in candy shops in America. The candies are in the toffee family. Both honeycomb and sponge candy are made by boiling sugar and a golden syrup of some kind. To get the iconic texture of either baking soda is added. This common baking ingredient responds to the compounds in the texture, creating air bubbles of various sizes. It's these bubbles and the perfect combination of ingredients mastered by candy makers that gives honeycomb and sponge candy the crunch and melt-in-your-mouth texture that candy lovers across the world crave.